You're listening to the Fayetteville 411 podcast produced by the City of Fayetteville, where you will get information about city government and the programs and services we provide. You'll get topics of interest and an inside look into the various departments that help keep our city moving. I'm John Salling.
And I'm Sherry Kropp. Thanks for joining us for the Fayetteville 411. The third annual Juneteenth Jubilee is just around the corner, and we've invited Lauren Falls from Cool Spring Downtown District to talk about what we can expect at this year's event. But we've also invited Nichole Saint Leone. She is from Fayetteville State University, and she's going to give us a little bit of history and meaning of Juneteenth. For more than 150 years, June 19th has marked a pivotal point in history for African Americans. However, some people still do not know what the full meaning of the Juneteenth holiday. And I have to confess, I really did not know much about it until a few years back. So, Nichole, if you can just kind of tell us, what is the significance of Juneteenth?
Yes, thank you. So thank you for having me. So let's start with the Emancipation Proclamation, which went into effect on January 1st, 1863. And then so what was happening was the states in rebellion, which were stated to have all their enslaved population free. You know, obviously they weren't trying to do that. So during the war, it took a little bit more time for that to occur. And then by June 19th, 1865, that's when the U.S. Union troops were able to go into Texas and actually say, hey, here is the field order number 3, which designated like, hey, everybody here in Texas enslaved is now free. And so Juneteenth was kind of more or less more of a regional based holiday, but it spread through the country partially because of the Great Migration. And so what you can see is that celebration and recognition start to spread not just within like the deep South states, but also out west. And then eventually going here even into Fayetteville. And so what was interesting about that, I discovered, was that even though we did not celebrate Juneteenth until it was more of a recent phase, we would actually celebrate Emancipation Proclamation Day, January 1st, where we would march through the downtown area, including around the Market House. And we would include notable landmarks that were significant to the African American community, such as the Howard School of Fayetteville, which is Fayetteville State's original name, and the place that Fayetteville State was actually founded in, which is Evans Metropolitan AME Zion Church.
So with Texas and June 19th, it was kind of the last state to have the proclamation verified or established there. Is that kind of what we're saying?
We would think that, but actually the thing is about the Emancipation Proclamation is that it only dealt with the states in rebellion. However, the border states actually had their emancipations a bit later. And so it wasn't until it became a part of the as an amendment for some states to be officially recognized as having slavery no longer done in that particular area. And so you also have certain states that actually celebrate their own emancipation days prior to Juneteenth, like Ohio, which they recognize September 22nd as their version of emancipation, because it was when President Abraham Lincoln first said, hey, this is actually going to go into effect in January. And so you have places like that. You also have Tennessee and Kentucky. Certain towns there, they actually do what they call the 8th of August, and that is because speculation for that is because Tennessee military governor and North Carolina native future president Andrew Johnson, he freed his personal enslaved workforce on August 8th, 1863. And so you'll find that emancipation commemorations are really very unique here in the United States, but it's great to see that we're kind of starting off with more recognition towards not just January 1st, but Juneteenth and, like I said, other places as well.
And I think we've all heard and know about the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yes.
We all learned about that in school. But I don't ever remember learning anything about Juneteenth.
So, interestingly enough, in the African American community, we have aside from, from public school, you'd also be taught in churches. And so traditionally you'd have what we have now is called Watch Night. which is again a symbolism of the Emancipation Proclamation Day of staying up until January 1st and then recognizing like, hey, we're all free then. So that's where Watch Night comes in. But really, because again, Great Migration and also people becoming more informed, some African American Fayettevilleans started to recognize Juneteenth and started to put on smaller celebrations in different neighborhoods. And then eventually some started to go to the city of Fayetteville and other municipal governments to go, hey, can we get this recognized on a local level? And then there was, of course, the stronger push for a more of a national recognition. And that is why back in 2021, on June 17th, that's when President Biden put that act into law.
Do you think that there's been an increased awareness of Juneteenth now that it was finally made into a national holiday back in 2021?
Yeah.
I know people were celebrating all through, various places throughout the country,
right.
But since it was made a federal holiday, do you think that has brought more awareness to people?
I think it has, especially since you have started to see a lot of interest in researching African American genealogy and trying to figure out where did they come from, where did my ancestors come from, and to find that you might have ancestry in the Deep South, more than likely. You can see that there's a lot of people who especially come to Chestnut Library to do genealogy research because they're like, hey, my ancestors came to the school and somehow we ended up in Texas, or somehow we ended up across the country, or we came back here. And I'm like, yeah, we can totally find that out. And so we discovered things like how through Great Migration, and also with how African Americans were involved in various progressive efforts, including, unfortunately, the World Wars, in which brought back people. And then, of course, Vietnam era, it also brought back some people. So it came kind of like a homecoming thing. And so one thing that I will say is that the awareness has definitely grown. I think also partially because of social media, it's made it a lot more easier to share information. And so people were like, wow, what's this? Can we do this here? And it's like, sure. And I think that's really the great thing about this holiday, is that it is a great way to get information about African American history that some may not be aware of. Because what was I noticing was that as people were starting to bring up Juneteenth, was that you did have the people from like places like Delaware and Ohio and Kentucky who were like, hey, actually we celebrate Emancipation Proclamation Day on these days, and here's why. And so I think that's a great way to spread awareness about overall holiday and tradition of African Americans.
Okay. And we've started to see a lot more involvement from the community since then.
Absolutely. What was really great was seeing how future mayor of Spring Lake, Kia Anthony, was really instrumental in getting more of the city, of both the city and the town of Spring Lake, to really recognize Juneteenth. And so I was very appreciative of the city of Fayetteville's openness in recognizing it and trying to figure out ways to help the community celebrate, including having it in the park and other designated spaces.
What are some of our details for the event coming up this year?
Well, we're really excited to bring the third annual Juneteenth Jubilee to Fayetteville Park on June 15th from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. We have over 98 vendors, artisans, nonprofits that are going to be participating in the event. We will also have food trucks as well, which I'm super excited about. We have a lot of special events that are happening during the festival. We have FSU's HBCU artist show that is going to be curated by Dwight Smith, who is a local FSU professor. We also have a Black Authors Fair. We also have a live painting demonstration by Black Canvas, which is a local nonprofit here in Fayetteville, as well as a traveling exhibition by Black artists for called Kissed by the Sun. We'll also, which I'm really excited about, is we're going to have the Wanted Outlaws, which is a Black horse club that is going to be coming to Fayetteville Park. They're going to be bringing a horse onto Fayetteville Park and sharing a lot about equine culture. And as a horse rider myself that I used to be, I'm super excited just to be around them and learn more about their organization. But we have a lot of events that are going to be happening during the Juneteenth Jubilee celebration in Fayetteville Park this year.
And it sounds like it's a time for learning about Black history as well.
Oh, yes. We have a Black History tour, trolley tour, that is going to be doing tours every hour. I believe for about 3 to 4 hours. That is led by Charles Anderson and curated by our own Nichole Saint Leone. And so that's going to be our third time doing that for the Juneteenth Jubilee Festival. And it was such a hit every year. And we learned so much about the history and culture of Fayetteville.
Okay. So we've talked about food. Of course, that draws everybody down. Some food, some vendors. You got a lot of learning opportunities and activities going on. But I know some of the big draw is the headliners, the musical entertainment. So let's talk about who is coming this year.
Well, we're really excited to bring Skip Marley and Pierce Freelon. And Skip Marley, if you didn't know, is the grandson of Bob Marley. So he's following that reggae tradition with contemporary pop, rock, and rap influences in his music. So we're really excited about bringing him. And Pierce Freelon, if you didn't know, is from the Durham, North Carolina area. And he also has like jazz influences and hip hop influences. And if you're like me, you listen to a lot of PBS because you have a small toddler. He also, you can hear his influences on Jammin' on the Job, Working Out Wombat, and Alma's Way, which was really exciting for me as a parent to know that we have a local talent here in North Carolina that is also a part of such a national broadcasting publication.
Now, is all of this taking place in Festival Park, or is it happening in the downtown footprint, or?
So everything I just mentioned is happening in Festival Park. The Black Trolley Tour is happening in Festival Park. The art show, as well as the author fair, is happening in Festival Park, as well as a live demonstration and the temporary art exhibit. But we also have other events that are happening outside Festival Park footprint, from the Juneteenth Celebration 5K, as well as Black Artists Forward's Black Art Crawl, where they're partnering with downtown local businesses to feature local artists' work.
So you got a lot going on.
We have a lot going on, but we're really excited to bring it to downtown Fayetteville.
So I know an event of this size takes a lot of collaborative work. I know that City of Fayetteville collaborated with Cool Spring Downtown District to make this happen every year, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. So talk about some of the people that you collaborate with on this.
We collaborate with a lot of people. We couldn't do this without our sponsors, Healy Wholesale, Cape Fear Valley Health, Duke Energy, Fayetteville State University, Methodist University, Metronet, and the Capital Encore Academy. We also have partnerships with ABC 11 as well as Beasley Media. And we also collaborated with local historians Nichole Saint Leone and Charles Anderson, who gave a plethora of information on the Black history of Fayetteville throughout the decades, and we couldn't do any of the history tour without their help.
Where can people go to get more information about the history, the event, all of that?
So if you want to learn more about this event, you can follow our website at visitdowntownfayetteville.com, or you can follow our social media at Downtown Faye or Cool Spring Downtown District. You'll find all the updates to the Juneteenth Jubilee, as well as scheduling information, and learn more about all the events and vendors that you'll experience.
Okay, so before we wrap this up, Lauren, give us those dates and times and location for the Juneteenth Jubilee celebration this year.
I'd be happy to. So our Juneteenth Jubilee celebration is going to be on Saturday, June 15th from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. in Festival Park, which is located at 335 Ray Avenue.
Well, again, thank you both for joining us here today. We really appreciate having you on to kind of talk through these topics with us. And that wraps it up for this episode of the Fayetteville 411. The Fayetteville 411 is one of several podcasts that the city produces for our podcast channel, Radio Fayetteville. Be sure to subscribe to Radio Fayetteville, available on your favorite podcast streaming platforms.
You can also listen to every podcast that Radio Fayetteville has to offer by downloading the Faye TV streaming app, available on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV. You can view all of our video content by visiting fayetv.net. To get information about city services, go to our webpage at fayettevillenc.gov. Thanks for joining us. Looking for the perfect way to beat the heat? Fayetteville Cumberland Parks and Recreation pools and splash pads are open for summer fun. Whether you're looking to swim, splash, or just relax by the water, we've got something for everyone. So grab your swimsuits and sunscreen and head over to one of our 4 pools or 14 splash pads today. Cool off, relax, and enjoy all the summer vibes. To find a location near you, visit fcpr.us and search aquatics.
June is the start of hurricane season. Don't wait until the threat of a hurricane or severe weather to get prepared. Assemble an emergency supply kit ahead of time with things like non-perishable food items, water, flashlights, batteries, toiletries, and pet supplies. Discuss an evacuation plan with your family and sign up to receive local emergency notifications from Cumberland Alerts. For more preparedness tips, visit ready.gov. This message is brought to you by the City of Fayetteville.